Welcome in to another episode of the Walk-Ins Welcome podcast. We are all about digital marketing for urgent cares, patient cares. Lots of vets are getting in there too because pets are patients too.
Pets are patients too.
I'm Nick. This is Michael, and we are on episode 100.
This is not just another episode. It is the 100th episode that I've been talking about for like 10 episodes.
That's right. It's like,
finally showed up, and then we're like, what are we going to talk about? It has to be special.
Yeah.
I guess because it's 100, right? So
That's
we
right.
have to make it special. So.
You ever done one of those birthdays? I did it for my dad when he turned 75. We did a birthday party for him, and it was one of these sheets of like everything that happened the year you were born.
Oh, yeah. We did that for my dad for 60.
It feels like this a little.
A little bit. Like this is all things that have happened, all that stuff. So we did that for my dad's 60th. It was pretty cool because you're like, top movie when he was born,
That's right.
all that stuff. I'm curious what that looks like for us when we get older. Like, what's that going to look like?
Be like NSYNC.
I'm not that young, but anyway,
I'm not either.
Right? I don't know what I was named.
New Kids on the Block for me.
There you go.
There it is.
But anyway, so what are we doing with this episode? We're actually honestly going to review some of the entire podcast because 100 episodes in, and we're averaging 20 to 30 minutes. That means there's like 2,000, 3,000 minutes of us talking. Or
you're going to ask me to do math in a minute. That ain't going to work.
And
26 days worth of listening.
Close. I mean, you're talking 30 plus hours of us talking. So 2 days worth of talking.
Right.
Just enough for me to go to Glacier National Park.
That's right. Well, I think before we get into this list of just kind of recapping, I think for me, I just want to say thank you to the audience for listening to us, for giving us feedback, for being guests on the podcast, for sending us reviews in. Those matter to us in a big way.
For becoming clients.
Yeah, for becoming clients. We have new clients off this podcast. We have clients, so we have new people that we've had meetings with that just we weren't able to turn them into a client, but we turned them into a friend.
Right?
And
then they let us know when they've tried the things we've mentioned and when they work.
Absolutely.
So it's just it's been interesting because for the original listeners out there, it was Walk-Ins Welcome, but it wasn't Patient Care Marketing Pros.
No, it was Urgent Care Marketing Pros.
It was Urgent Care Marketing Pros. And we adjusted the name to Patient Care Marketing Pros. One, because we're picking up more than just urgent cares.
I got it. I'll talk to that just a little bit though, which I think is funny. This is full honesty and disclosure here. We were having a really difficult time getting urgent cares to want to do business with us.
You guys are tough.
I know, right?
I will say this. Once we get you and you like us.
You love us.
You love us.
And we love you.
But getting to that point,
ooh-wee,
it's a time sink. Like it happens and we make it happen, but you guys are you have the most protective gatekeepers out there.
No doubt.
And then after that, y'all are busy, so like I don't have time for this.
That's right.
But no, like honestly, you guys are tough, but we love working with you.
Well, so it was such a challenge. I looked at Michael. Michael and I were kind of brainstorming. We're like, okay, the company isn't old. If we have to make a switch, we love working in medical. We love retail healthcare, if you will.
Yeah.
Let's expand it a little bit and let's allow some other people to play in our sandbox here, if you will.
And then we had a dark meeting with Hannah.
We did.
Because so Hannah, you may have heard at some point, may not, but she orchestrates the back end of all this.
Right.
And she had built the logo and the branding for Urgent Care Marketing Pros. And we're like, Hannah, we want to make a change. She kind of gave us the death look.
Yeah, like I'm going to kill you later.
And we're like, no, it's one word.
Yeah, that's right.
And it was urgent care to patient care.
That's right.
And the logo adjusted with it barely, like it was super tiny adjustment. And then we took off from there.
What's funny about that, though, and the reason I bring that up is once we changed the name,
then urgent care
started flooding in. It's I didn't want to do business with an urgent care company, but patient care, that's totally different.
That was that was July or August of last year,
right?
When we made that switch, and then we pick up one of our first urgent cares from the podcast.
That's right.
Anyway, but no, I think
it's funny. You guys are awesome and crazy at the same time.
Yeah,
it's funny.
And we love the results we get with you guys. Right. So anyway, 100 episodes, right? So a lot of stuff happened in the past 100 episodes. We try to do an episode a week. So we're talking about almost 2 years worth of recording, which is really hard to fathom.
It is. I look different from 2 years ago if you go back and watch some of the original.
Right? 2 years makes a difference. 2 years has been a long... And that was also, we were coming out of the heart of COVID. So it was a lot happening. But yeah, just to kind of think through that 100 episodes ago, like I had some notes I made, like things that have happened since then, but kind of give you like perspective of time. It was 50 episodes ago when we were talking about AI.
That feels like yesterday.
Right.
Now, I remember it was December of 21, right? When everything just was aware or whatever you call it.
November of 22.
Okay.
November of 22 is when ChatGPT went public. And that's when the world changed, right?
It literally
changed. Like now it's part of our daily lives.
That's right.
To the nth degree. Like it's so much more.
We talk about speed to implementation. We've talked on previous podcasts where like Facebook, it took 10 years to get to 1 billion users. Mm-hmm. It took TikTok 2 years to get to 1 billion users. And it took ChatGPT 2 days to get to 1 billion users.
Yeah, like it is the standard. And then Google stumbled hard.
Oh, yeah.
And came out with Bard.
There's a thing over there somewhere for that, I'm sure.
I'm sure there is. But anyway, and so it came out with Bard, and it was kind of messy. But now Bard is like integrating itself into Google search.
Yeah.
It's integrating itself. We use it part of our processes.
You showed me something today that I was kind of fascinated about, and I'm bringing this up for a very specific reason, and that it's starting to integrate and like it's starting to normalize into our lives.
Yeah. Like this is becoming like it's almost to the point. Why doesn't this have AI helping me right now?
Exactly.
So like this, you talking about Zap?
I was talking about Zapier.
Yeah. So Zapier. So if people call it Zapier, I call it Zapier because they make zaps, but.
I'm happier with Zapier.
Yeah, there you go. Mm. And if you watch the commercials, they say Zapier. Anyway, so Zapier is ZAPIER.com. Every single digital marketing agency in the world uses this platform. I can guarantee it. Right. If they don't use it, they don't believe in automation, they're not a good agency. Let's just be honest. And so inside Zapier, you build zaps. What are zaps? They connect. This is kind of like the ideal world. They connect two different softwares to talk to each other with no coding. And you can connect like 50 softwares together to make it all do the things. To give you a basic example of that, if we sign a client, they sign it through our software. Zapier takes that and fires off and creates a Slack channel, creates a couple of files, creates a couple of folders, sends off an email, and then sends an alert that something's been signed. And then all of a sudden, within 10 seconds, 50 steps have been completed. And we didn't have to do anything. Mm. And why is that important? Because if you can automate it, you can save time. That's so right. if we took 50 steps, it only takes a few seconds. Okay, so it takes you 2 minutes to do it. Well, times it times 100. Well, that's 200 minutes you wasted that a piece of software could have done for you. Anyway, so that's Zapier. So talking about AI.
Yeah.
AI has been around for about basically a year, right? Give or take. And
readily available, I would say.
Readily available about a year, almost a year now. And we've all seen softwares integrate AI. We even have a keyword finder that says AI, and you click on it and says, sorry, just kidding. We're just seeing if people are interested in this or not. Like, which I thought was hilarious. But with Zapier, that was the biggest, meh. But Zapier, in the past 2 months, has been like revamping their software. And it's been good and bad. We've kind of gotten used to it. There are a lot of bugs. But now it seems pretty clean. But then as of today, or past couple of days, they introduced AI into their Zap building. And what does it do? You can now do a couple of things. One, you can literally say, I want to take this and put it into that and make it do this. It thinks about it and it says, do you want these steps? And it produces all the steps. And you can say, turn on.
So cool.
Takes you into its editor and you connect all your accounts and you're done. That's cool. And you have to know what to ask it for sure. But then what was really cool, so one of the problems that we have with software is it gives you great data, but sometimes it gives you in stupid formats that are hard to read. So the most classic format is like it likes to use military time or UTC time, and it likes to put everything year, then month, and then day. And so it's just a lot of numbers. Well, and it gave me this option. Would you like to use AI to reformat this? Like, okay, what do you want to format? It's like, please format to month, space, day, comma, year. 5 seconds are done. And it adds a AI reformat step, reformats the date, and then sends it after that. And it worked perfectly. I didn't even know that was possible. And it did it for me. And it just solves the problem. And like, that's what I was like, that's what we want. Cause like Zapier is a great example. Like we know enough about it to make a lot of things happen, but there are some things we just don't know. And like, sometimes we scratch our head with Zapier because like, that doesn't make sense. But now they've kind of like bridge that gap with AI where we can move a little faster now. It's pretty awesome. Like AI is finally getting to that point where it's not just magical quotes or a neat trick. It's actually very helpful now.
I just remember going back to those episodes, that 50 episodes ago, where we're like, this is crazy. This is like, we don't even know what to do with it yet.
I just remember the
So
first.
now I'd use it every day.
Now I remember the first time we watched Chat GPT. We gave it a question and it just started writing.
I lost
It
my
blew
mind.
everybody's mind. Like us, everybody that watched were like, "This is incredible." And then now we're like used to it. Now we're like, "Nah, it needs to be better." Now we're spoiled.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's just part of it. But that was 50 episodes ago. So much has changed since then.
And there's a bunch of episodes that we've done since then, even webinars talking about how you can utilize that effectively without breaking yourself or your content or your SEO. So definitely go back and check those out. But we've had some unique experiences. We went to our first UCA conference.
Yeah.
And it was technically the first one they've had since we started business. So even though we've been in business.
Yeah, because of COVID. And stuff.
Yeah, because COVID, they shut it down, and then they maybe did a virtual one. They finally went back in person, and that was the first one that we attended, and we had a really good time.
Yeah, and so that like 30 episodes ago, we had gone to Vegas and did the UCA thing.
Got to meet all you good people.
Got to meet a lot of you people, actually,
Absolutely.
which then turned into additional interviews, which we'll talk about in a second. But like that was 30 episodes ago. You know, it was 40 episodes ago.
What?
No more page 1 or no more page 2.
Is that where that was? Episode 62. You're right.
Episode 62. Google, like it may have happened before because we typically talk about it prior.
I remember saying, congratulations, everybody's on
Page one.
of
Everybody's
Google.
on page 1 as of today.
That's right.
And so that was 40 episodes ago. So less than a year ago, but close. Of Google dumped page 2, and I bet you don't even notice it anymore.
I don't.
Don't even think about it because you
I'm
start.
so glad I'm not clicking buttons at the bottom of the page.
You're just
I'll tell you
scrolling.
that. The endless scroll.
The endless scroll, and then it switches the content, and then it switches again. But
well, it's always going to prioritize those ads, so it's got to drop the ads in there.
yeah, it's got to slide them in a little.
That's right.
Subtle. But yeah, so like that was 40. But so much has changed in the marketing industry, in the life of this podcast so far.
Right.
It's just amazing. But so a couple other things really cool. So we talked about UCA. Well, because we went to UCA conference and we got to talk to all these people, we then got the CEO of the UCA, Llewellyn Horwitz, to come on. And she kind of set the standard of what urgent cares are expecting from when COVID happened to where they are now. She corrected you on something I can't remember,
I'm okay with it.
but it was fun, right?
Yeah.
Because like she was like kind of like this is the standard, right?
That's right.
What I'm saying is what's actually happening.
That's right.
Super great episode. I encourage you guys to go back and listen to that one. That was,
I would say one of our top 5, probably one of my top 2 or 3 favorites, just because the wealth of knowledge that came out of that one episode.
yeah, and yeah, exactly. And then what I also liked, it confirmed a bunch of stuff.
It did. That's like everything in our life.
Right.
Everywhere we go, we're like, yeah, you're doing it right, or yeah, you're onto something there, or I'm like,
Send us,
I need somebody to tell me I'm doing it wrong so I can fix it.
send us an email if you're checking every box and it's still not working. We had those.
Yeah, that's the thing. It happens.
We
sometimes.
that happens a lot to us,
Yeah.
where we read a book or we go through this like mastermind and they're saying, well, if you do this, this, and this, it'll be okay. Yeah, we've been doing that for a long time, and it's not really okay. It's just there.
Well, I don't mean to, first of all, I think you pave your own path and you make your own luck, if luck's even such a thing. But I do think there is a kernel of right place, right time in everything that we do.
Yeah.
Right. So there's the aftermath of that too, when the time's no longer right and the place is no longer right. But what I'm talking about, like if you started an urgent care in 2019, then the only thing at that time you knew is this is the best thing that's ever happened, because like I can't treat enough patients. Like
Yeah,
there's
like I don't have enough staff.
yeah, I'll
Demand
never-
is endless. If I open my doors, they're
Right.
coming.
Yeah. So, and then like I said, sometimes it's the wrong place, wrong time, because now we're on the other side of that. And we absolutely know the struggles that the urgent cares are going through right now. More competition, less demand, prices are higher, payouts are the same from insurance companies. Like we know what you're dealing with, y'all. We're in it with you.
We have enough urgent cares that the trends are similar. Now, they differ from state to state. We've recognized that. But the overall trends are your demand has fallen from the peaks of COVID. It sounds like this has been consistent. It sounds like in the peaks of COVID, you were hitting 200 patients a day.
Easy.
which is
Crazy.
kind of hard to fathom out of one location. But you're hitting 200 patients a day. That was your peak. Now you're at 20 or 30.
And we're trying to get you to 60.
Yeah, we're trying to get you to that 40 to 60 mark, right? And so, and you're having a shock moment because your staff hasn't really changed. And so that means, but actually they've gotten more expensive because inflation kicked in. So there's a demand for higher pay to compensate. And then your insurance companies haven't caught up.
Right.
I've even experienced that now, like talking about insurance companies in general. Like my wife had a car accident last week, very minor, but damage. And we ran into this weird problem where we contacted a body shop and they said, "Oh, that insurance company won't like our rates." So I went to my insurance company and just said, "Is this a thing?" He said, "Right now, a lot of body shops have increased their rates, but the insurance companies haven't caught up, and so they're all denying their claims essentially." Consistently.
Yeah.
And so take that. That's a car. That's
Especially
automobile.
Allstate. That's another story.
Allstate's a different story. Yeah. But take the automobile industry, now flip it over to the medical industry. Same thing. Blue Cross, like that's the big dominant insurer in the state of Alabama. It's like monopolized here, like 95% Blue Cross. And they haven't adjusted their rates. Their payouts aren't adjusted. We have a hospital system here that literally goes in and out of getting approved by Blue Cross. Like it's a big deal because they service like hundreds of thousands of patients a year.
Right.
And so y'all are dealing with that. And so like you had things were awesome. Now they're not. And then you have some that are just trugging right along, adding locations. We have a urgent care client right now. He may be buying 20 locations in the next few months. Like it's super cool. Like you have those transitions too.
We're seeing a lot of that in the industry as well.
Yeah, a lot of acquisitions moving on.
All of that to confirm. It was a great interview with Lou Ellen Horowitz.
Yeah.
Who confirmed that all these things are happening except for maybe the car dealerships and stuff like that.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
want to do repairs.
Yeah, so like super cool interview. Another really cool one, Mama Bear.
Brenda.
So Brenda Bates. That wasn't too far ago. I forget which episode. I didn't write that on the episode.
That's probably 8 or 10 episodes ago.
Mama Bear, Brenda Bates, and she works for an American Family Care, but we didn't really interview her about the urgent care. We interviewed her about running one and the leadership and the culture behind it.
Front desk, team management.
All the things.
Yeah. Which, of course, we'll talk about it, but that spawned out of our most popular episode is like, if that's the most popular, the front desk, then let's bring somebody on that is all about the front desk, all about that patient experience.
Because she even said, like, she had other franchises reach out to her, say, "Hey, I need some help." Well, and then she would help them. And it's kind of like this thing that stacked with her where she even said, like, "I protect my people. I take care of them, but I'm also going to be like honest with them and not just baby them." And so it was fantastic because like we could have deep dived on the culture side of it because she was really good at that. It was if you're having struggles with staff turnover or just burnout, go listen to Brenda Bates' episode and you'll get encouraged. And she even said she's happy to talk to you.
Yep. And we have her contact information in the show notes there.
Yep.
Probably my favorite interview, and that's not for any other reason other than we just vibed on this interview really well. It was a fun interview. It was good information. Loved the culture aspects that came along with it. And that was April Gillum with Solve Health.
Yeah.
We're already friends with Solve, but that was a great interview.
Well, and I love how I don't know about you guys out there, but you know, a lot of things seem really difficult or distant. Like we'll never get there, we'll never see that. But it's really about taking that step and seeing how far you can take it. And so I remember going to the UCA conference in Vegas, and we saw Solve Health had like the largest booth there. It was
Front
legit.
center.
It was legit. It was pretty. And we had chatted a couple of those people like, "Yeah, we have a podcast. Y'all guys come on." And we're all kind of saying like, "You're a massive company. We're not." And come to our podcast. And it's kind of like, we'll ask, but nothing will happen. So we asked, and we asked, and we asked. And then boom, April steps in. And she had a unique need of some sort, but which opened the conversation. And we brought her onto the podcast. And it was cool because she had ran other, like a pediatric urgent care type of thing in the past.
Multiple locations.
Yeah, like she had been in the works, right? And then she came over to Solve Health, and then she's been helping build that software over time. But the cool part was like we're just chatting with her and she's just confirming what we've talked about. She sees it on her side as well. And then we're able to like promote what Solve Health was going up to, because they had that new software coming out for like it followed people on the review side. Like I can connect the provider to the patient that left that review and know who was involved. It was just really cool because now it's opening up conversations with Solve Health with us. We may be talking to them more on other things, which is really fun.
Yeah, I think we're supposed to do a webinar here in the near future with them.
With Solve.
With Solve. So that'll be huge.
Yeah.
That'll be huge. Mm-hmm. So what were our top episodes over the past 100 of them?
Yeah, so I had Hannah pull some analytics stuff, and she pulled a bunch of top episodes, but these are the top 3 most notables. I'm excluding episode number 1 simply because episode number 1 typically is always in the top because it's the first one for everybody.
Right.
But number 1 by far, training your front desk staff. Mm-hmm. And that's episode 16. So
early days.
Go way back. That's urgent care days,
Yep.
urgent care only days. And that one, we have the book that we give out has an entire chapter dedicated to it, which is right there. If you guys are watching, there's a little right there.
Looks like our logo there.
Yeah, it's very reflective of that.
Very, very, very much so. Keep going.
Anyway, and so, and here's the thing. At the end of the day, the reason why the episode is so important and the reason why people like to listen to it, it is legit, like, can change your business because your front desk can make or break your business at the end of the day. And we know that. We see that because if you need an indicator, look at all the bad reviews that are coming through because your front desk kind of sets that tone a little bit. And if you're getting a bunch of bad reviews, there's some things that you can work on. And front desk is the number one, in my opinion.
100%.
So next episode, it's really popular, guys. Get your clinic to $3 million a year.
I did a lot of math on that episode. If y'all don't want to watch that one or listen to that one while you're driving down the road, definitely don't watch it driving down the road. But that's going to be one where you're going to want to grab a pencil and some paper. And you're going to want to do the math alongside me and adjust the numbers to your clinic's numbers. Mm-hmm. But the whole goal there was to take you from 20 to 30 patients up to 60 patients, which is going to put you right around $2.9 to $3 million in annual revenue, which is about the capacity of an urgent care that isn't dealing with COVID.
Yeah, and that's typically when you get to that point where you're like, all right, let's look at another location or add more staff until my building can't handle it anymore. Yep. And so, yeah, that's and that one's really good. And that was only 12 episodes ago. It's episode 88. Mm-hmm. And that was just like, because that's real. Like, those are real numbers. We've seen it with our clients. Like, it's a real thing. We're not just throwing stuff to the wall. And it's impactful. So I think you guys, if you're like, I'm at this point, so I need to know what I need to get to 3 million, that's the episode for you. And then finally, top 10 reasons people are not doing business with your urgent care. That one goes way back. It's
that negative reinforcement, man. It's like people don't move towards success. They move away from pain. You know what I mean? And I don't mean to be negative about it, although we were talking about that before the episode. But this is the reason people aren't doing business with you. People would rather figure out what's wrong than do what's right. Mm-hmm. And we are too. Like we were just talking about earlier, we'll go to these conferences or we'll meet with our mentors and our masterminds and we're like, help me fix what's broken, not do these things that are right. Like, we never ask those questions. It's the funniest thing.
Well, yeah, because
same thing on this episode. That's the reason it's so popular. It's here's what you're doing wrong.
Yeah, exactly. And it's kind of common sense to a certain degree, right? Yeah. Like some of the stuff, like I guarantee the top 10, there's probably 3 or 4 like, yeah, that makes sense. And the other one's like, no, I'm doing fine. But it's more of, did you peel all the way back and look a little deeper, or did you just feel like you're doing fine?
It's layers.
Yeah, because we know at the end of the day, most business owners, not just the doctors, but the business owners, when they get a bad feeling in their stomach about something, they're probably right, but then they got to dig. And then when they just assume everything is fine, it rarely is. And so, and at the end of the day, your top revenue number defines if people like you, and your bottom number on your profit, it means are you efficient or not.
That's right.
So anyway,
it's not 100% across the board, but what I'm finding fascinating here is our top episodes are the ones where you and I are doing teaching and training.
Yeah.
And so I kind of want to hear from the audience a little bit. And I know you can't tell me in real time, but we would love for you to give us some feedback at hello@patientcaremarketingpros.com. We want to make changes to the podcast that are going to be positive, that are going to serve you well, that are going to give you the information that you want more of, right? So do you like the interviews that we're bringing on? Let us know that. Would you prefer us teach and train and just spend more time on that? Let us know that. Do you want us to increase or decrease the frequency that we're putting our podcast out? We want that feedback. That's good feedback for us to know. Because we want to make sure that we're giving you the right content at the right time where it's relevant to what's going on in your clinic.
Yeah. I think you're right, because looking at these episode titles, man, I need to work on the titles too to make them more training sounding.
Could be.
Yeah. But I would say, like, training front desk, that means you probably think, I have an issue with my front desk and I need some help. Get to 3 million. I'm making money, but not enough money.
Yeah.
Top 10 reasons they're not doing business. I need to know what I'm missing in my business. And so what is what else is out there? I know we have lots of actual training episodes out there per se. Like, we kind of dive deep into that. And even on the webinars we host, we give you tools. We give you like actual documents and things you can use to implement. Because we are in the mode of we give away 95% of what we know.
Right.
Because if you do that 95%, you'll be successful. The 5% you'll pay well for, and we recognize that.
Or you'll just outsource the things that you get into this and all the things that it takes to be successful. I want to do a whole podcast on unicorns, and we'll talk about that later. But this is just like, you expect one person to be able to do everything.
Oh, did you see that unicorn post about hiring?
That probably is what triggered it in my brain. But
yeah.
Anyway, you're looking for a unicorn. They don't exist.
Yeah, just to cut that off, that should be our next episode.
Actually, they're looking for Santa Claus riding a unicorn.
Quit looking for your marketing unicorn.
That's right.
That's our next episode. But in a nutshell, we know this because we're in this business. There is no one person that can do it all in the marketing world, at least. Right? Or do it well.
No, I have a whole team. I was on a podcast the other day, Michael, and we'll talk again. This should be another episode. I won't get into it too lengthy, but he asked me if you had $1,000 and you could start your business over from scratch.
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah, it was. And my immediate response is I would go back to the one thing that I do really, really, really well. Yeah. And I would spend all of my money, time, and effort getting that out into the universe.
Yep.
Right. So anyway, that's a teaser for a future episode, but nonetheless, we would like to gear this podcast and better serve you. We're already having a good time. We're already getting clients out of this podcast, which we're grateful for. Thank you if you're doing business with us. If you have interest in doing business with us, obviously we would love to chat with you, but that isn't the goal here. The goal is to put really good, actionable content in front of you from us and from other industry experts. Yeah,
because like talking to that Brenda Bates, when we brought her on, she was one of the listeners that said, hey, we've done some of the things you've mentioned and they worked. I'd love to talk to you more. Like, you need to come on the podcast.
That's right.
So if you're out there and you say, well, yeah, we've done a couple of things, and you can tell us, did they work? Did they not work? I'd love to know. We're not going to make you an interview on the podcast, but I'd love to know.
That's right.
But all right, guys. Well, thank y'all again for listening for 100 episodes.
100 episodes.
Over 30 hours of us chatting it up. And we'll see you on the next one.
See you next Wednesday. Thanks.